Hello everybody and welcome to Saturday Club, and you might notice that I'm in a different room today, and that's because I've gone to form what's called a social bubble with my brother Christopher and his wife Helen, and I'm bringing you Saturday Club from their spare room in Ashford. And it also means that I don't have to wear headphones because they have a very fancy laptop that's very good at this kind of thing. So that's a good thing for today. So that's why everything looks a bit different. So you might need to bear with me because it's all very different, and it's in a different environment. But I'm really looking forward to doing Saturday Club with you. And I wonder whether you've had a good week. It's been very hot, hasn't it? I've noticed that it's been very hot, and I've been feeling quite hot and sticky. But today I'm actually quite pleased because it's raining. And sometimes we can think that the rain is a bad thing, but today it's a good thing because it's been very hot, and I'm actually glad because at the moment there's a nice cool breeze coming in through the window and it's raining. Now, I was hoping to be able to introduce you to Christopher and Helen, but they're not dressed yet. So they might come and say hello at the end of today, but I've had a very nice evening with Christopher and Helen, and I've been very happy because last night their cat, Maggie, slept on the bed with me all night long. But Maggie has had to be shut out because she's a kitten and she's very energetic. And if she was in here, she would be running all around the place and distracting me. So Maggie has had to be shut out as well. But I'm staying with Christopher and Helen and their cat Maggie and their rabbit Chester. And I've been having some lovely snuggles with Maggie and Chester. And I had a hug from Christopher and Helen, and I haven't had a hug for a very long time. So I was really pleased to get a hug. Now, some of you have sent your pictures in of the craft that they did last week, so thank you very much. I really like this mug, by the way. Can you see what it says? I love tea. Really good mug, nice and big as well. So I've had some craft back from Josiah and from Ruben. And this one is Ruben's, and I'm really impressed because I can see that Ruben is getting really good at writing his name, and I can see he's drawn a happy face for Joseph and a happy face for the butler. And then for the baker, he's given him a big, sad face. And Ruben has used pipe cleaners to make the prison walls. So well done, Ruben. Thank you very much. And then this one here is from Ruben's big brother, Josiah. And Josiah is also, his writing is getting really good now. And Josiah has drawn Joseph, the butler, and the baker in prison. And I like that Josiah has given the Joseph a straight line for a mouth. And I think that that looks really good because he's not smiling and he's not happy and he's not sad because some of the news he gave was good and some of it was bad. So that's very thoughtful of you, Josiah. And then you've given the butler a smiley face and the baker a sad face. And I've just noticed you've given them spots on their clothes. That's very clever. So well done, Josiah. Well done, Ruben. And thank you very much for your pictures. And I wonder who else is here today. I wonder whether, I hope that Josiah and Ruben and Joel are watching. Hello, Josiah. Hello, Ruben. Hello, Joel. And maybe their cousins, Brandon and Jaden and Layla. Are you watching? It would be really good if you were. I hope you've had a good week. And then in London, I wonder if we've got those 4 boys watching. We've got Isaac and Daniel and Luke and Noah. So if you are, hello boys. Hope you've had a good week. And then also in London, there's Finley and Bethany. Hello, how are you? Hope you're going well. And then I'm wondering if near to where I live, whether Scarlett and Gracie are watching or anywhere else from where I live on Ashdown Vale in Barnum. It'd be really nice to see you all. And then in Switzerland, I hope that Michaela and Matthias might be watching. Hello, Michaela. Hello, Matthias. And maybe Jamie and Emily as well. I hope you're still looking after your little sister, Jamie. And Jessie and Lena also in Switzerland. Hello, Jessie. Hello, Lena. And then little Nina. Hello, Nina. Hope you're watching. I know you like doing the actions. And then I wonder if Arena and Sonia are watching, and if their cousin in Indonesia, Michelle, is watching. And then in Luxembourg, there are Joffiel and Kate. Are you watching? I didn't get your pictures this week. I hope you're okay. Look at Joffiel and Kate. And then in France, Luke and Julia. Bonjour, comment ça va? Ça se passe bien cette semaine? Bonjour. And then in Australia, I need to talk quite loudly for this one. Hello, Ryan in Australia. Hello. Are you still watching? And then in India, we've got Paul. I wonder if Paul's still watching. So if you are watching, you can always send me a message in the comment box. I'm looking to see whether I've got any messages. Hello, Gwen. I see that you're watching. Nice that you're watching. There don't seem to be many people watching today. Maybe they're all having a lie-in. I woke up early because I had a cat on my bed and she wanted to play. So I woke up early and had a play with the cat. Just going to have another sip of tea. I woke up early, but then I took a long time over my breakfast because I was nattering away and I didn't see what the time was. So that's why I'm still drinking my tea this morning. But I've had a sleep in the spare room, and I was very pleased because there was a lovely penguin to cuddle in bed. So Helen, my sister-in-law, really likes penguins, so I had her penguin to cuddle in bed last night. And he's very soft. He's nice and big as well. So that kept me comfortable last night. I wonder if you've got a favourite toy that you like cuddling in your bed. I didn't bring mine with me because she was a bit big to fit in my suitcase. So I was very glad to find something that I could cuddle last night. So it's nearly time to start. We'll just wait a couple more minutes to see if anyone else is going to join us. So I hope you've got your singing voices ready. We're going to learn a new song today, a song that I used to sing when I was a little girl. So I hope you've got good singing voices today, and I hope you've got some things that you need. You're going to need a glue stick, and you should have printed I hope your mum and dad did some printing out, and also there might have been a bit of cutting out to do. So I hope that you've got everything ready. And remember, if you're watching Saturday Club and you would like the activity sheets, you'd like to be able to download them, you can always go onto our website. You can go to providencechapel.chichester, and there on our website you can find the activity sheets that you can download, so that you can do the activities. Or if you forget to do that, you can always send me a message with your email address, and then I'll email them out to you every week. So I do hope you've all got your activity sheets ready. And I'm feeling a bit disorientated because I'm sitting on a bed, and as you can see, if I bounce up and down too much, the video bounces up and down. So I have to try and sit still, particularly when we're singing, otherwise I'll make you all feel seasick. So I'll have to remember to do that. But hopefully you've got your everything ready, and I've got everything ready, I think. And I've done my craft, so I'm nearly ready. I had great fun. I sat down yesterday afternoon and I did a craft so that I could show it to you. And I'm just checking, yes, I did remember to pack it, because I had to take everything with me all the way from Barnum to Ashford. I had to take 3 trains, and I had to take everything with me on the train. So I was very glad that I didn't leave anything behind. Right, well, it's 9:30 now, so we're going to pray. So let's put our hands together and close our eyes and ask God to be with us. Dear God, thank you that you've brought us safely through another week. Thank you for the sunshine that we've had, and thank you for the rain that we're having now, and how refreshing it is. And we pray that you will be with us today in Saturday Club, that you will help us to learn from the life of Joseph, and that you will help us to learn about your son Jesus. Amen. That's right. Did you say a nice big loud amen? Can you say it again? Amen. That's very good. Right, we're going to start off by singing a song. And the song we always sing at the start is the one that I always need reminding of. Is it My God is So Powerful? Well, God is really powerful, but I don't think that's quite the right action. Is it My God is So Loving? Well, God is really, really loving, but that's not right either. I know we do something like this. Can anyone remind me? It's My God is so... That's right. My God is so big. And I've got room to really stretch out wide here. My God is so big. So let's sing My God is so big. Are you ready? My God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. Very good. Now, do you remember we talked about that strange word handiwork and how that means that God made the stars, and he didn't just make the stars, he made the mountains and the rivers and the trees and the fields and the plants. God made everything from the smallest thing you can think of right up to the biggest thing. There's another song we used to sing when I was at school, from the tiny ant to the elephant. God made them all. And God made everything in the world. Right, now we're going to have our memory verse. And there's one memory verse that we remember each week because it's a memory verse that teaches us the big thing about Joseph's life. And I wonder if you can remember what it is. That's right. And the Lord was with Joseph. And that comes from Genesis 39 and verse 2. Can you remember the actions? And the Lord was with Joseph. That's right. Should we say it again? And the Lord was with Joseph. God was with Joseph in everything that he did. And that's our memory verse. And I've just seen that Sonia and Arena have joined. Hello, Sonia and Arena. Good that you're able to join us this morning. So that's our memory verse that we remember each week, but each week we also learn a new memory verse. And today's memory verse is something that God said in the Bible. And it's from the book of Isaiah. It's quite a long one, but it says the same thing in two ways. So hopefully you'll be able to remember it. So it says, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. Shall we say it again? I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. And that's God saying that when he plans to do something, it will happen. And we've got some actions. So we've got I pointing to heaven to remind us that it's God speaking. I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. Should we do it again? I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. And that's God saying that when he plans to do something, it definitely will happen. And that comes from the Bible, from Isaiah 46 and verse 11. Now, do you remember earlier, if you were listening, I said that you would need some glue. So I hope you've got some glue. And I hope also that your mum and dad were able to print out two pieces of paper. This one says good, and it's got a thumbs up for good. And this one says bad, and it's got a thumbs down for bad. And I'm hoping also that they printed out and cut out for you some little pictures. So I've got the little pictures here, so you might want to get those and spread those out in front of you. So we've got a plaster and some children fighting and an ice cream, a nice ice cream lolly, and then an ice cream lolly that's gone splat on the floor. We've got a present and a park and some children playing and we've got a rain cloud. So you need those, and you need your good and bad sheets. Is there anything else? No, there's nothing else in my envelope. So there we are. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you about an imaginary day and different things that happened, and you're going to help me decide whether the things that happened were good things or whether they were bad things. And we're going to stick them on the right sheet. So I want you to imagine that you wake up and it's your birthday, and your mum and dad say to you, we're going to go to the park and have a party in the park to celebrate your birthday. Is that something good or is that something bad? I think you're right. I think it's something good. So I'm going to glue that down and stick it on the sheet of paper that says good, with the green good and the thumbs up. And I'm going to be careful to put the lid back on my glue so it doesn't get on my Christopher and Helen's spare bed. There we are. I've stuck the park on good. Okay. But then on the way to the park, you fall over and you hurt your knee and you have to put a plaster on it. Is that good or is that bad? I think that's something bad. That's not a good thing to happen. So I'm going to get my glue out and I'm going to stick the plaster on the sheet of paper with the thumbs down for something bad that happened. So there we are. That was something bad. Okay. So you get to the park and your knee's a bit hurting, but you're okay. And then your friends join you for some games in the park. Is that good or is that bad? You'll be thinking about it while I put the glue on. What do you think? Is it good or is it bad? Let's have a look. Where should I stick it? Yes, that's something good to spend time with your friends in the park. So I'm going to stick that on the good side. There we are. That was something good. So you're in the park with your friends, but then you get into a fight with your friends and you start arguing and fighting. So I think that one's quite easy, isn't it? It's not a good thing to have a fight with your friends. That's definitely something bad. So I'm going to put the glue on and I'm going to stick that down on the bad side. It was something bad that happened. Okay, so your friends go home and then your mum and dad buy you an ice cream from the ice cream van. A lovely ice cream. This one's got chocolate sauce on it and sprinkles on top. I think it's a strawberry ice cream because it's pink. So you have a think, is that something good or is that something bad if someone buys you an ice cream? Well, that's easy, isn't it? It's something good to have an ice cream. So I'm going to stick the ice cream on this side, saying that it was a good thing that happened to you. So you got your ice cream and you're running down the park saying, yippee, I got an ice cream. But then, oh no, you drop your ice cream and it goes splat on the floor. Is that something good? Is that something bad? I think it's something bad if I've dropped my ice cream before I've eaten it. It's something bad. So I'm going to stick that down on the bad side. It was something bad that happened. So you're in the park, you've got no ice cream, and then it starts to rain and you get soaking wet. Well, sometimes it's quite nice if it rains, if it's been very hot, but I think if I was in the park on my birthday, I think that would be something bad. So I'm going to put some glue down and I'm going to stick that down. That's something bad that happens if it rains and you get soaking wet. Oh dear. But there's one last picture left, isn't there? So you go home and you're all wet and your knee's hurting and you dropped your ice cream, but When you get home, there are presents. Is that good or is that bad? What do you think? Well, it's a good thing. It's very kind of people to buy you presents for your birthday. That's definitely a good thing. So I'm going to stick that down on the good. There you are. So sometimes things happen to us that are good, and sometimes things happen to us that are bad. And today we're going to be carrying on thinking about how in Joseph's life, some of the things that happened to him were good and some of them were bad. But in all of them, the Lord was with Joseph, and we're going to be finding out more about that today. And we're going to sing our song about Joseph now. And we've learnt about Joseph and how he had 11 brothers and how his brothers made plans to kill him and sold him as a slave, and how he ended up in prison. And now our new verse, we've got 2 pictures here, and our new verse goes, Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. He asked for Joseph's help. So let's sing that together. Are you ready? Come and hear the tale of Joseph. Come and hear the tale of Joseph. Come and hear the tale of Joseph and what God did for him. Joseph had 11 brothers. Joseph had 11 brothers. Joseph had 11 brothers who really hated him. They made lots of plans to kill him. They made lots of plans to kill him. They made lots of plans to kill him, then sold him as a slave. Joseph ended up in prison. Joseph ended up in prison. Joseph ended up in prison, though he'd done nothing wrong. Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. Pharaoh had some nasty nightmares. He asked for Joseph's help. So that's the story of Joseph so far, and we're going to be learning more about Joseph now. Now, in Saturday Club, all of our stories come from the Bible, and I've got my Bible on my iPad today, and I'm just having a look in the spare room. Do you know, I don't think there's a Bible to show you, but all of our stories come from the Bible. Now, we talk about how many books there are in the Bible, and normally I have that big board with all the books of the Bible on, but I couldn't carry that on a train. So you'll have to remember we've got that big board, and can you remember how many books are in the Bible? Are there 5? No. Are there 10? No. Are there 20? No. How many are there? There are 66 books in the Bible, but they all tell one big story, the story of God's plan to send Jesus. And our story today comes from the first book of the Bible, and I wonder if you can remember what the first book of the Bible is called. That's right, it's Genesis. And I'm going to read part of our story to you now. And it's actually the end part of the story that we read last week. So let's get to the right page. And it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. That means that Pharaoh remembered them. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. He gave him his job back. And he gave the cup unto Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remembered Joseph, but forgot him. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. So, we're going to carry on learning about Joseph today. The Bible tells us lots of things that happened to Joseph. Some of them are good, but some of them were bad. But the important thing is, as we keep on saying, the Lord was with Joseph. And do you remember how we've been thinking that even though Joseph was born thousands of years before Jesus was alive, Joseph's life is like a sign that points us to Jesus. Last week we learnt that Joseph met the butler and the baker who wanted to know what God was telling them, and the things that he said, that Joseph said would happen, did come true, but that we learnt that the butler forgot all about Joseph, and that was something that we read just now. The butler forgot about Joseph, and that reminded us that when Jesus was alive, lots of people wanted to hear what he said about God, and that Jesus always spoke the truth, but that lots of people forgot what Jesus taught. Now, the bit of the Bible I read reminded us that after Pharaoh forgave the butler and gave him his job back, just as Joseph said, then the butler forgot all about Joseph, and he carried on forgetting all about Joseph for 2 whole years. And all of that time, Joseph was in prison. He must have wondered what was happening. Perhaps Joseph wondered if God had forgotten him. Perhaps Joseph wondered if his dreams, where God had shown him he would rule over his family, had been ordinary dreams after all. Perhaps Joseph wondered if he would ever get out of prison. But God had not forgotten Joseph. God had a plan, and God was waiting until just the right time to put the next part of his plan into action. And all of that time that Joseph was in prison, he was learning to be patient. He was learning to trust God, even though nothing seemed to be happening. God had a plan for Joseph, and he was teaching Joseph lessons that he needed to learn. Then one night, someone else had another of those special dreams where God was telling them something important. It wasn't Joseph. It wasn't the butler. It was Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh dreamt that he was down by the river and that 7 cows came up out of the river. These cows were strong and healthy. They were nice and fat. Then 7 other cows came up out of the river. These cows were skinny and ugly. They looked awful. Then the 7 skinny cows ate the 7 fat cows up. Pharaoh woke up with a jump. He knew this was an important dream, but what did it mean? Before Pharaoh could think too much, he fell asleep again. And he dreamt another dream. He dreamt that he was down by the river and he saw 7 ears of corn growing on a stalk. Nice, plump, good ears of corn. And then 7 other ears of corn grew up. Shriveled, thin and nasty ears of corn. And the 7 thin ears of corn swallowed up the 7 good ears of corn. And Pharaoh woke up again. He knew he'd had another important dream, but he didn't know what this one meant either. When Pharaoh got up in the morning, he wanted to know what his dreams meant. So he called all of the wise men in Egypt together, and he told them all about his dream of the 7 cows, the 7 fat cows and the 7 thin cows, and all about his dream of the 7 good ears of corn and the 7 thin ears of corn, but no one knew what they meant. Then someone had an idea. It was the butler, and the butler remembered Joseph. He told Pharaoh about Joseph, and they went to the prison and they got Joseph, and he shaved, and he had a wash, and they gave him new clothes to wear. And then Joseph was taken to the prison to see Pharaoh. And Pharaoh told Joseph all about his dreams. Now, Joseph didn't know what the dreams meant, but God did, and God told Joseph. And Joseph told Pharaoh what God was saying in his dreams. And Joseph said that the 7 fat cows and the 7 good ears of corn showed that there was going to be 7 years when the crops were going to grow really well and there would be plenty of food in Egypt for everyone. But after that would come 7 years when the crops would not grow and there would not be enough food to go round. This was what the 7 skinny cows and the 7 thin ears of corn meant. God had told Pharaoh the same thing twice because it was definitely going to happen. That was what our memory verse said, wasn't it? That when God plans something, he will make it happen. Then Joseph gave Pharaoh some good advice. He said, "You need to save some of the corn that will grow during the 7 good years so that you have enough to eat during the 7 years of famine." Pharaoh was very impressed. He could see that Joseph was a wise man. He could see that God was with Joseph. He could see that Joseph was like no one else who he had ever met. He made Joseph Prime Minister of Egypt, in charge of everything in Egypt. He gave him new clothes, and he put a gold chain around his neck and a gold ring upon his finger. And Pharaoh gave Joseph his second best chariot to ride around in. And everyone had to bow down before Joseph. In one day, Joseph went from being in prison to being the second most powerful man in Egypt. And everything happened just as God had said. There were 7 good years. Joseph ruled over Egypt and saved the corn. God blessed Joseph. Joseph got married and had 2 sons. Joseph could see that God was with him and had kept his promises. Now, this wasn't an accident. God had a plan and God was working everything out. Joseph had been 17 when he went to Egypt. Now he was 30. That means God had spent 13 years teaching Joseph everything he needed to know so that he could be a good Prime Minister of Egypt. God had had a very important plan all along, and Joseph had been learning to trust God in bad times and in good. Now God was keeping his promises and making Joseph a great ruler who saved the Egyptians from famine. Now we've been looking at how Joseph's life is like a sign that points us to Jesus. Now, I wonder if you've got your yes/no cards. I wonder if I've got my yes/no cards. Here they are, yes and no. Now, God had promised Joseph that he would be a ruler. But Joseph ended up in prison in Egypt. But that was all part of God's plan to save the Egyptians. Jesus was the promised king, but people laughed at him, ignored him, and killed him. Was this all part of God's plan? What do you think? Yes or no? Yes, it was all part of God's plan. Jesus had to suffer and die. It was all part of God's plan to save us. Then Joseph was taken out of prison and made to be a ruler, and everyone in Egypt bowed down before him. Will Jesus come again as king? What do you think? Yes or no? Yes. The Bible says one day Jesus will come back as king and everyone will bow down before him and worship him. Pharaoh recognized that God was with Joseph, and Pharaoh listened to Joseph. Did people recognize that God was with Jesus? What do you think? Yes or no? Yes, people recognized that God was with Jesus because Jesus is God, and they listened to him. Jesus came to save us from our sins, and we need to listen to Jesus and make him king and ruler over our lives. So we're going to pray and ask Jesus to help us do that. So put your hands together and close your eyes. Dear God, help us to come to Jesus. Help us to ask Jesus to forgive us for our sins and the wrong things we do and to save us. And help us to make Jesus the King and ruler of our lives. Amen. Right, now I've got some craft for you and something for the older ones. So you should have two pictures. And they look the same. But at the bottom, this one says Joseph the prisoner. And this one says Joseph the ruler. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to decorate them so that this one looks like Joseph when he was in prison, and this one looks like Joseph when he was ruler and prime minister over Egypt. So here are two that I've done. So this is Joseph when he was in prison. And the Bible said that Joseph had to shave. So I've drawn Joseph with a long beard, and he had to wash. So I've drawn him quite scruffy. And it says that they gave him new clothes. So in prison, I've given Joseph quite dirty clothes. And then I've coloured in some of the lettering, but I've done it so that my letters go in black and white stripes, because sometimes you see pictures of prisoners wearing black and white stripes. So that's my Joseph the prisoner. But then in our story, we learned how Joseph went from prison to power. And so I've made Joseph into a ruler. So I've given him new clothes. I've given him clean white clothes. I've drawn a gold chain around his neck, and it's a bit hard to see, but I've drawn a gold ring on one of his fingers. And I've given him a head covering like important Egyptians rule. And I've coloured Joseph the ruler in my sparkly metallic pens. So that's a craft that you can do at home. And then please do get your mum and dad to take a picture of it and email it to me, because I like seeing your crafts. And then if you're a bit older, we've got some puzzles for you to do. So we've got this one, which has got a question about Joseph and then a memory verse tile to unscramble about Jesus. And then we've got this one where you have to write down the 4 things that Pharaoh did for Joseph and unscramble another memory verse about Jesus. And then we've got this one with another question to answer and a maze to solve. So those are some things that you can be doing maybe today or maybe tomorrow afternoon, and then please do email them to me. And we're going to finish by singing one last song, and it's a song that I used to sing when I was younger, and it's called God Has a Plan for You, and it goes like this. God has a plan for you, something only you can do. Listen while he calls you by name. You were in his plan before the world began, and he longs that you give your life to him. And it's a song all about how God has a plan for everyone, and God's best plan is that we come to him and we ask him to forgive our sins and that we follow him. So let's sing it together. It goes like this. God has a plan for you, something only you can do. Listen while he calls you by name. You were in his plan before the world began, and he longs that you give your life to him. Oh, before you go, there's someone who's come to see you. This is Christopher, my brother.
Hello.
And this is Maggie. Oh, hello, Maggie. Oh. Maggie kept me company all night, and now she's wondering what's going on. Oh, yes, there's a glue stick, Maggie. She's very soft and she's very jumpy. So.
Do you want to explain what just happened to Maggie? She's had an operation.
Oh, yeah, she just had an operation, so she's not supposed to jump around too much.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
I think we have another visitor coming in just a minute, but you'll have to give it a second.
All right. Oh, someone else coming.
Yeah. She's coming.
She's coming.
She's coming.
Hello, Maggie. I used to have a cat and I really miss my cat, so it was very nice because Maggie slept on my bed all night long.
Right, here comes the other one.
Oh, we've got someone else as well. This is Helen and this is Chester. Chester? Oh, that's all right. No? Oh, we don't think he wants me. This is Chester. He's a lovely bunny. So that's who I'm staying with. Helen and Christopher and Maggie and Chester. What did I say about never working with children and animals? So I hope to see you all next Saturday. I'll be back at home and on my own, but it will be lovely to see you all next Saturday at 9:30. Bye-bye for now.